Meghan's mega plan. Yes, she is now hiding under a tunnel according to one report. I will share that in a second. And the reason she's hiding is because she is seeing somebody. Meghan Markle is busy seeing that individual, trying to convince him to give her a big check, a big amount of money. And at the same time, what we see from Harry is that Harry is hanging out with his friends. Before I move on and explain more in details, I want to let you know most of my viewers are not subscribed. If you're one of them, consider to subscribe so that you do not miss anything. Let's take a look at this video and then I will make some comments.
The divorce stories that will come out about his drug use, his temper, the fact that he was doing drugs with the children asleep. I mean, as I've said so many times before, all the things that Harry said, he's pretty much written his own divorce papers. The fact that the couple have not been seen together for a long time now makes me think that all is not well. I mean, we have had Harry, we've had a perfectly timed paparazzi photograph of Harry just randomly walking around somewhere in Montecito, I'm sure, with one of his friends. I mean, there always just seems to be a photographer just amazingly there, ready to go. But no signs of Meghan, no signs of the children, but then we never see the children unless they want us to. It makes me wonder, is Meghan actually living in underground tunnels and that's how she shuffles to Portia's and Ellen's and then to Oprah's? If Oprah is actually still seeing her. There's more stories coming out that their relationship is terminated, it is done, and a lot of the celebs are having nothing to do with her because she obviously gossips. Possibly not helped with the recent birthday bash for Portia at Ellen's, and then photographs magically get leaked. I'm not 100% whether it was Meghan's team that did it, but it just happens to be such a big coincidence, doesn't it? So the fact that Meghan seems to be underground, it's leading people to speculate she's up to something. Now, this up to something storyline has come out. Apparently, Meghan is very friendly and spending time with an 89-year-old Gordon Getty, who just happens to be a billionaire.
We all know that Meghan Markle, she is always with a business plan. The reason she is now venturing to people like Gordon Getty, it is because she knows that her celebrity status and people she was associated with, especially with Netflix, with Spotify, they are dying down. People are not tuning in to watch what she has to say on Netflix or on Spotify. All those docuseries, they're big flop. So let's take a listen from Tom Bauer, what he has to say about Meghan Markle and her motive.
Well, I think their priority is earning money, but the veneer is always charity. They pretend always that they are philanthropists. They're eager to hand out cash to people who need it. But it was very noticeable that when Harry said he was going to give a large chunk of his advance on his sensational book to charity, it's now just a little bit, and he hasn't quantified it. So I think they're keeping the money, but parading themselves as philanthropists and people who are anxious to help the downtrodden. But of course, the one most important downtrodden are they themselves. Well, it's cynical, as was the whole departure from Britain, and is the whole of this, the Netflix series and the book, I'm the victim, when in fact they're the aggressors. And, you know, in truth, what we're seeing is an extraordinary marketing campaign by Meghan, whose number one interest is herself, and the second interest is money. And the question is, how will she make a lot of money in a short period of time in the end, to make sure she doesn't need always to parade herself as the victim of the royal family. She's always looking for other business opportunities. And what's interesting is the people she goes to. Who is going to maximize Meghan's popularity? Who's going to make her really big and very rich? And she's, I think, very shrewd and clever in that. She's always looking for opportunities and for people who can help her. Now, Harry undoubtedly was one step. But will she keep Harry for long? Perhaps Harry will become redundant to her ambitions in the near future. Who knows? So what's terrible for the Sussexes is they haven't got really that much money compared to the other A-listers. I mean, if they've got $20 or $30 million amongst the A-listers who are billionaires, that is just a day's or a year's expenditure on food and living.
So they want more.
So of course, they're poor compared to their neighbours. And Meghan feels that more than anything. That is, after all, why she was so dissatisfied with Frogmore. She wanted a palace, not 5 cottages knocked into a sort of small home in Windsor. So she's really looking for the big time. The question is whether Harry appreciates that, whether he really wants to go along that ride. Is he really so money-oriented as she is? I mean, she only sees dollars everywhere. She only sees zillions. She wants to ride in the big Cadillacs, the private jets on command. At the moment, she has to scrounge for those sort of things. So, and she's on a treadmill which is fast. She wants to get there faster than tomorrow.
We still haven't seen her, Tom. Is that part of the strategy?
Of course, the mystery is there. That's the great thing. And she's pretty clever. She really is. She's making herself scarce while she puts the next huge expose, the next theatre opportunity together, and then she will unveil herself.
The reason Meghan Markle is moving so fast from one person to another, from one venture to another, it is because we mentioned in the beginning of this video that Spotify, Netflix, they are actually now, at the same time, as we know, Meghan is not really happy with the Spotify, Netflix outcome because both of them were big flops. And now Spotify, Netflix, they're recalibrating their venture with Meghan Markle and what the future should hold, what the future should look like. Let's take a look at this report.
Yes, this story, again, is incredible when you think, because as we often know on this particular show, as I say, you get these big deals, and particularly if you are people like Harry and Meghan, you pick up those mega deals like Netflix, Spotify, and everything else associated with it. The bigger problem now is, of course, managing to retain that, to hold on to that. But of course, then what happens is a company decides that they have to make losses, they have to cut the staff. That becomes very public because in this day and age now, everybody knows your business. And this has been the problem for the streaming giant Spotify. They've had to lay off quite a few people, 600 at a count. Streams are down. People are not paying for things, as one can imagine, in this cost of living crisis. So where does that leave that mega deal with Meghan Markle? Well, according to a very good source, and as ever, we have to say allegedly, it's not like they want to cut ties with her. But as I said at the start of this video, that's exactly what happens now. What they're suggesting is perhaps that re-looking at the deal moving forward, because obviously the ties and the free PR have been immense, but not enough to turn those into streams. So perhaps maybe doing one or two specials with people that they both agree on, meaning big names. None of this fluff and nonsense that's been recorded previously with people we've never heard of. Clearly didn't work. And then, of course, if the specials don't happen, perhaps a shorter series, a boutique style series, as they like to call them. But either way, let me tell you, Spotify are realigning their deal with Meghan. Now, whether she decides to go this alone, she could find another platform, perhaps put it out and keep all the profits herself if she finds somebody expensive enough to help her put all the podcasts together.
And now to make all of these things much worse, we have Samantha Markle suing Meghan Markle for $75,000. Man, I don't think she has that money ready to give to Samantha Markle unless she taps into her charity fund to pay for the court fee and the $75,000 that Samantha Markle is asking. Things are not panning out for Meghan Markle very well. Let's take a listen at this report.
This is not something that you do. And Meghan reminds me of someone, and I'm going to use my body language to try to project that someone that I'm thinking about, and I have that reveal a bit later on this topic. But Meghan Markle has refused to produce private communications with Oprah Winfrey, despite her half-sister Samantha demanding she turns them over in court. Radar Online has learned. According to court documents obtained by Radar Online, the Duchess of Sussex and her legal team have objected to various requests for documents from Samantha. Oh my God. This is what we got. This is not a good idea, Meghan. You have to comply. Please. There's no reason to comply. And by the way, it's how many lawsuits are Harry and Meghan tied to? I think it's 10 lawsuits in 3 years, according to this article, but by Jack Royston. You know that Jack Royston is on Harry and Meghan's side, and Harry and Meghan's 10 lawsuits in 3 years and what they say about couple. Yeah, you know that Jack was writing this article to just make it seem like it makes sense, 10 lawsuits in 3 years is not a bit too much, because in this case, Harry and Meghan have a very important, very urgent reasons.
What we can anticipate in the coming days is that Meghan Markle is going to have to tap into that same button where she made a lot of money, and that is that lashing out at the monarchy, telling more porkies against them so that the money, the cash flow will keep coming. One thing we can say for sure, and that is that Meghan Markle's future is not looking very bright with all the things happening, especially with the titles at stake for her kids. Meghan Markle is going to lose a lot more in the coming days. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.